Brian's introduction was wonderful. They talk about the different organizations I've worked with. Coming out of CU Boulder, go Buffs, I'll try not to say that too often, but coming out of CU Boulder, people probably referred to me as Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties. Do you remember that kid, the young Republican? Yeah, those are my era. You know, he wanted, he was just this young go-getter Republican. My goal was to make $1 million by 30 coming out of college. That was it. I figured getting a Big Six accounting job at the time at Deloitte was the way to go. And I started down that path. However, there was a big turn that took place when Deloitte ran an annual Mile High United Way campaign. We took a tour of Urban Peak, the homeless shelter for teens, which many of you may be familiar with. Back in '95, it was in the basement of a church in Capitol Hill, and Roxanne White was the executive director. Some may know that name. Roxanne White just shared with us young, suited accountants how these teens in our community have been abused by their own parents, physically, sexually, mentally. Something just hit me hard that day where I realized, you know what, I am living selfishly. I'm trying to make $1 million by 30 for myself, and yet here are these kids on our own streets of Denver that are barely making it by. So something shifted within me, and I started volunteering for Mile High United Way at Deloitte, ran our United Way campaign, and eventually, after 4 years of being an auditor at Deloitte, left Deloitte to go work for Mile High United Way. 50% pay cut, no benefits. My parents like, what are you doing? You've had this trajectory you've been on. It was one of those kind of leap of faith moves that happen in our lives at different times. And I would encourage you all, there's times you need to take that leap of faith. And so I did. And back then I didn't have wife and kids, and so I could have a lot of different jobs and do different things without benefits. So went to work for Mile High United Way and had an incredible experience there. The quick snapshot is I actually took United Way Denver from paper-based pledge cards to electronic pledge cards. This was back in '99, 2000, the dot-com heyday. It was a blast to kind of move them forward in that way. I also then later worked for United Way on Denver's Road Home, the 10-year plan to end homelessness. Jamie Van Leeuwen was fundraising with me at that time, and just an amazing experience working with then Mayor Hickenlooper as he was leading the charge on Denver's Road Home. From there, I've had a couple different jobs. I actually had 10 jobs in 10 years. I was a total millennial before being a millennial. I'm Gen X. If you look at my LinkedIn, you can't quite tell that. Take a look. So I then ultimately ended up at Goodwill Industries of Denver, 6 years there. What an incredible nonprofit, serving a lot of individuals with disabilities, as Brian talked about, a lot of youth in our community. And yeah, I honestly could have been potentially a future CEO of Goodwill. And then this CU Foundation opportunity came around, and as a buff and as a CFO, and with all the amazing things CU is doing in our community, I applied and I got the position, and it's been incredible.